you need an asset management license to buy these assets. Not only that, in order to hold that particular business license, you need to be a local. Okay. I think looking at everybody, you guys thinking this is supposed to be some seedy sex story, right? No. Sorry to disappoint you. There was this guy that came to me and said, I can get you that license. Not only can I get you that license, I can get you a local ID. And I'm going, wow, this is great. Okay, he says he has some guanxi. Everybody knows what guanxi means, right? So, long story short, I lost some money, okay, and dignity, and most of all, I lost credibility with some really good investors. So, beware of your own greed. Okay, that's lesson number 3 for me. It's very important. Okay. Lesson number 4, college education. Okay. You remember that guy that sold me that license? Well, he only had a 6th grade education. Okay. I had a college education. Not cows, but I thought I was a smart guy doing business in China. And, well, I'm not a local. You know, you may think that you're a local, but China's a big place. So I just want to let you know that they play different games. I thought I was doing game theory. We were negotiating on a deal, and I was trying to out-negotiate him on this particular package. And all he really wanted to do was sell me that license, right? So, got to understand, you know, don't mess with 6th graders, okay? Okay, they're really smart because they're local. All right, and next slide, lesson number 5. So this has to do with scale, and it's very important. So the guy was going to make $1 million RMB on this, right? And I said, well, look at the scheme of things. Oh, this is going to be $1 billion deal, and this is only a risk of $1 million. But you know, he just told me what I wanted to hear about the MPL package. I was looking at the MPL package. It's fairly sizable, right? So it's not that losing the $1 million that really mattered. Okay, next. It was that I lost some credibility with $1 billion investors. Okay. So understand the scale and understand their motivation. We're talking about different points of view. Lesson number 6. China is a big place. 1.4 million people. You probably all know this. I don't know how many provinces, but 56 ethnic groups, 14, 15 primary dialects. China is a big, big place. And what I've learned is that you tackle China bit by bit. And from my most recent startup, I actually started my first company when I was 19. And then the past 8 years, I was doing something else. Now I'm back to being an entrepreneur, and in China, no less. And on this nano-sized electric vehicle that I'm building, all the licenses has to be approved, not just by the provincial government, but also by the local municipality. So China, you have to understand, is very, very local. So if you're going to do business there, understand that everything begins with grassroots. And I got 2 stories for you. One is my friend who used to run eBay. He was the CEO of eBay in China. Bill's my good friend. And Meg Whitman came over and said, Bill, I'm going to give you $100 million to do advertising and to educate why eBay is the way to go in China. The way that we do business, the way we charge you fees, the way that we're going to work with customers. And Bill basically said to Meg, you know, $100 million is not going to do it. And the reason for that is because you can't really educate the Chinese masses. They educate you because you can't spend enough money. China is too big. You can't educate them, so you have to learn. Okay? And for us, that's one of the key learning things that we let the locals tell us what to do in order to get our vehicle on the road. Okay. Lesson number 7, copy to China. You know, everybody heard a lot about that. This is the new C2C. But I'd like to add a little bit more to that, is localize it. Okay? A couple of stories here. I think Dr. Xu had mentioned ramen. There's a company that my friend started called Henyo, a noodle bowl, Taiwanese, very good product, but didn't quite understand that he needed to really decorate his noodle shops for the locals. Simple as that. The taste is good, the value pricing is good, but he attracted Lawa. And compare that to Ajisen noodles and the way that the Japanese have perfected it, but then localized for China. And there was a big difference in this. And this was one company that I was thinking about investing into, but failing to localize and understand what Chinese consumers want. And from their perspective is I think most of the failing companies, thinking that they can just go into China and have such easy access to the local market. Okay. Lesson number 8, path to achieve your goals is many and varied. And this is a hard lesson for me. I'm really a stubborn guy, and I guess as an entrepreneur you have to be a little bit stubborn. But in China, there's going to be many things thrown your way that you wouldn't think that this was a problem. There are many small problems that become big. And so I want to just let everybody know how important it is that to be flexible and to understand there are many ways to achieve your goal. But principles, okay, very important. Don't bend them, like what I meant in terms of, not be greedy, having respect and integrity. Lesson number 9, the little guy and the big boss. And that's an interesting lesson that I've learned. A friend of mine started a boutique hotel in Shanghai, one of the best. And he schmoozed all the lingdao, give him all the license and getting everything done. And he forgot to go over the Xiaofangju. Because he thought everything was done. Right? And when you go to Xiaofangju, they just sit there and they nag and say, put this here, put that there, buy more fire extinguishers. He thought he didn't have to do that. So when opening day came, he didn't have his certificate. And you try to get an appointment with this guy for 6 months. He didn't. Okay. So don't forget the little guy. So he's the star. So when you're doing business in China, understand that there's many people that make things happen, not just the big lingdao says, this is it, and they make it happen. Okay. So he's the star. And I think, to no disrespect to Dr. Xu, I've worked with many VC firms as well. When you think about that, when you talk to partners and managing directors, of course their opinions matter, but remember, it's the associates that do a lot of the work. So I tend to actually make the associates that work on your projects your champion. Okay? They like you, they like your project, they're the ones that push that forward within the venture firm. So lesson number 9, remember the little guys. And okay. All right. Lesson number 10. All right. Thank you. You're very polite here. We say thank you to everyone and everywhere. Sometimes you kind of sound like an idiot, but you certainly feel a lot better for it. So this is a real quick story. I travel back and forth between the U.S. and Shanghai. And, when I get to Shanghai, I get in a taxi. They just take me home. And it's usually 200 renminbi. So on this particular trip, I was tired. I got into the taxi. I arrived home, and it was 230 renminbi. And I got very angry. I said, why is it 230 renminbi? So I felt this guy was cheating. And needless to say, I was very hot-headed, was pushing around. And then, all the neighbors came out. And then finally, the cops are called, by me. And then I proceeded to spend the next 5 hours at the police station, filling out forms. Okay. And then I thought to myself, I should have just said thank you and paid him the $230. So this is a very important lesson in China. Some people will take small advantage of you, but think about it. It's okay. Just say thank you and go on. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, David. After your presentation, I suppose all of you have accumulated many questions to ask. Now is the perfect opportunity. I will pass the time to Bingze, our panel host for today. Bingze, please.